Well, good afternoon to some and good morning to all of those who are here with me in the States. My name is Carlton Hall. I am the founder and CEO of CHC, a training and capacity building consulting firm for the application of prevention science. It is my honor to have been invited by the organizers to moderate what I am certain will be the absolute best side meeting that you're going to see at this year's C&D. And I have the confidence to be able to share that because I know exactly who you're going to be hearing from in just a few moments, an esteemed panel of superheroes that I'm going to be able to introduce. But it is my job to be able to set the stage. And so as such, I am going to share a couple of things with you. So hold on, if I can do this. If I could start off. Legalization and commercialization go hand in hand. And if I can paraphrase and possibly reframe my friend Ben Court, our national and global debates cannot merely be focused on legalized weed, but also commercialized THC. The presence of the cannabis market is prevalent, with increases in cannabis advertisement, product development, and easily accessible dispensers. The media and role models are embracing commercialization at levels that are normalizing and promoting its use. This cannabis industry focuses strongly on targeting women with their marketing strategies. Products are being designed to attract women through well-designed packaging, branding, and the development of cannabis products, especially for women, such as cannabis-infused makeups, superfoods, even body balms and bath soaps. Services have even started to emerge, such as yoga retreats and day spas. While this has been most pronounced in the US, commercialization and targeted strategies are being employed globally. According to New Frontier Data, the premier data and analytics firm specializing in the global cannabis industry, Europe has seen significant rise in female-oriented interest in cannabis and CBD. And women are gaining prominence in the sector, focusing on lifestyle branding of CBD and marijuana-related products. Not surprisingly, women are the fastest growing consumers of legal cannabis in the United States. A recent NBC News report even expressed that the future of cannabis is female. So why are we here? It is my firm belief that commercialization engenders normalization, and normalization equals invisibility. Profound risks and harms go unseen and rarely spoken about. In fact, it is our intent with this side meeting to make the invisible visible. I'm honored to be joined by an esteemed panel. All are heroes to me. We are going to be able to walk through today. Ms. Britt Friedemann will be coming up and speaking to us about lessons from the targeting marketing strategies of the alcohol industry. She will be followed by Dr. Letitia Bader, who will be sharing those same targeted strategies and risk in North America. My good friend Christina Spirkova will be coming up and sharing about comparisons of marketing strategies by the alcohol and cannabis industries. And then we will hear from regional developments in Nepal from our good friend Sunima Tuladar and our good friend George Ocheng Odala from Kenya. We hope to be able to do this and speak quickly around all of these things so that we would have a great opportunity to engage you all in a conversation. And so allow me to introduce my great friend, Ms. Britt Friedemann. Britt Friedemann is the operational developer at Women's Organizations Committee on Alcohol and Drug Issues, or WOCAD, in Sweden. She will present today The Pink Monster, published by WOCAD, which provides interactive methods for gender-specific drug prevention on how to resist the negative effects of aggressive and targeted marketing of addictive substances towards women and girls. And with that, it is my great pleasure to be able to stop sharing and allow my good friend Britt to go ahead and take the lead.
Thank you so very much, and good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Let me introduce this concept of the pink monster. Today we are talking a lot about the cannabis, and I will also show a little bit how aggressive marketing and targeted marketing looks like in the alcohol industry and other industries. Next, please. Our organization, WOCAD, is an umbrella organization founded in 1943. We have 34 member organizations and embraces a total of around 300,000 women. Next. Interfering factors in alcohol policy. It is a violation of the law to consciously and systematically target advertising and marketing of addictive substances to children and young people. It is an avalanche-like increase of the aggressive, intrusive, and targeted marketing of products to girls from the industry of alcohol, tobacco, fitness, doping, and addictive substances through traditional media outlets as well as the internet and social media. The cost of alcohol advertising in Sweden is now around 1 billion Swedish kronas. At the same time, the labeling informs us that smoking kills, alcohol is addictive, and snus, which is a tobacco product, contains arsenic, and internet drugs can be labeled as not for human consumption. Next, please. The Swedish alcohol law says, when marketing alcoholic beverages or alcoholic beverage-like preparations to consumers, special moderation shall be observed, and it cannot be aimed at or portray children or young people under the age of 25. Next, please. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child has been a Swedish law since January 1st, 2020, and Article 33 says, protection from harmful drugs. Governments must protect children from taking, making, carrying, or selling harmful drugs. Next, please. Swedish marketing law says a trader may not use aggressive marketing. Next, please. What do these laws intend to fulfill? Both separately and together, they constitute protective legislation for children and young people, the protection of health, life, and against exploitation for financial profit. Protective laws for children and young people have been established out of necessity. There was a clear lack of adequate protection, and it was necessary to improve legislation. Next, please. To raise awareness about targeted marketing towards girls and women, our organization WOCAD has since 2008 taken active measures to counter the pursuit of girls and women as the new target group as prospective consumers of addictive substances. Pink cigarettes, raspberry-flavored snus, which is the tobacco product, flowery beer cans, fitness-enhancing products, legal and illegal internet drugs, and a range of pharmaceutical products are all marketed under the guise of a successful, fun-filled, free lifestyle. By gaining increased awareness of the forces, mechanisms, and purposes of aggressive marketing, girls and young women gain increased power to make healthy choices and find their own health strength. Next, please. The tool is interactive method materials designed for girl group activities, which provides activities, knowledge, encourages reflection, and helps to find health strategies that encourage participants to decide for themselves. They can use their consumer power and refuse substances that are harmful to health. Next, please. The Pink Monster is a tutorial guidebook for inspiring girls to activities and reflection. It is intended for all who wish to develop girls' awareness of the power of marketing and its purpose. This includes teachers, guidance counselors, nurses, youth recreation leaders, women's associations, girl group leaders, and many others. Next, please. This is what it looks like, the pink monster. We have it in Swedish and in English. It is the interactive method material for gender-specific drug prevention. Next, please. Targeting marketing. Here we can see advertisement of cigarettes, pink, thin cigarettes. In Sweden, we have an increasing number of Swedish teenage girls that are smoking. And we can see at the same time the aggressive marketing of tobacco targeted especially at young women. Next, please. The gender perspective of the alcohol industry. This is a bottle from Carlsberg, UK, and they has launched a low-calorie, low-alcohol drink for women. And David Scott at Carlsberg, UK said, the drinks industry has largely ignored female consumers in the on-trade for a long time, which is criminal. Well, of course, our point of view is that the criminal thing here is that the industry doesn't take any kind of moral or ethic responsibility when it comes to the health risks. Next, please. Bag in bag, the producer describes this wine as the wine with the female touch, from practical to elegant. This is a bag in box which contains 3 liters of wine designed as a handbag. Next, please. Fitness doping, legal or illegal highs, barber drugs and syrup pills often found online. Many of these pills have serious side effects, for example, high blood pressure, anxiety, and more. Next, please. Our organization, WOCAD, has a network for the girl group leaders who has been trained in our materials. And the network is called Bellanet National International. We have members in Sweden's 21 counties and in 17 other countries. The purpose with the network is to strengthen, stimulate, and develop methods for working with drug preventive girl groups. Next, please. Conclusions. The aggressive marketing of addictive substances to young people reaches the group of young people who, in the same age group, often are expecting their first or second child. The combination of alcohol and prescription drugs does not take into account the increased health risk of the elderly. Policymaking in its current form is outdated. It still does not protect children and young people from the influence of the industries. The industry should not participate in policymaking on alcohol and other drugs. Future policymaking has to include the cyberspace. Next, please. Thank you so much for your attention.
Sorry, I had a little problem getting my camera back on. Britt, thank you so extraordinarily for that remarkable presentation. That was wonderful. It provides us a great deal to consider and to think about, and you provided some remarkable tools with respect to what we were able to utilize. I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're all going to be able to have in just a moment. So to be able to get to that, we're going to go to our next speaker, and we are going to hear from, yes, my good friend, Dr. Letitia Bader. Dr. Letitia Bader has worked in the field of mental health and addiction for more than 18 years. She graduated from the University of North Texas in 2007 with a PhD in counseling psychology and a specialization in sports psychology, and completed her postdoctoral fellowship in chemical dependency at the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center. She is here representing Smart Approaches to Marijuana, and she is extraordinary. And so we are looking forward to hearing from you. Dr. Bader, the floor is yours.
I love it. Thank you so much, Carlton. So I'm going to shift then from alcohol to cannabis. And some of those numbers that if you don't think that the industry is booming, I have a bigger number, Carlton. It is $166 billion by 2025 that will be targeted for cannabis alone. So as the tradition goes, don't feel like we're not going to repeat the past. But when we first start targeting marketing to women, we actually are the marketing. And so you can start to see that women's bodies start to sell products. And that is actually, these are, I bring you like pictures from home, but these are literally in the magazines that were provided to me in my county and in my city. And so as women became marketing, we were the marketing, at least in the crude conception of it, we started to shift as that would be in the marketing. And as you can tell, this marketing potentially isn't for me, but art came, right? It was depicting us relatively quickly for recognizing that they were missing a significant portion of marketing. And when women control 70 to 90% of the household income, it is going to be a huge pull for the industry. And I'm going to say it that way. In the States, we didn't commercialize it, right? We industrialized it. And so the images became classier, more glamorous, but don't forget that they kept that healthy glow. And I'll put a nod back to the tobacco industry and my aunt, because my aunt had come a long way when my mom hadn't. And that's what we started to learn with this marketing. These are slick magazines. They're coming to us both in our homes and in our mailbox, as well as the magazines and the billboards around us. So as this woman starts to get classier and glamorous, always with a healthy glow, the industry then welcomes women to break the glass ceiling, the grass ceiling, if you heard it. So it's going to offer us a seat at the table as entrepreneurs. We're going to be offered the American dream to start a business, to run a business, to support our families, do it organically, right? And to do it in a seat of power and to be an advocate to move the needle, that they would say. So with this, we would welcome the industry, open the doors and welcomed women to participate in the business, to consume the product, and to change the industry. And they welcomed all ages, all races, and all creeds. And you can see that at the lines of the dispensary. 59% of new users are women, and we are kicking in the door to get products of all kinds, just as Carlton alluded to. And so when we were promised weed, we were literally, y'all, if y'all see this, these are real magazines and books that are flying off the shelf to teach us how to get high like a lady. But the promises from the industry were tenfold. Universal promises to alleviate mental health concerns, pregnancy, to treat cancer, to aid in sleep, skincare, and to put a spark back in our sex life. Cannabis is being positioned as a radical way to change the female mind and body. So here come the products, y'all. If y'all didn't want to know, if you wanted to know, we can literally use cannabis from morning until night. From the time that we open our eyes and wash our face and put our skin regimen on, to when we lay down our heads after a galactic orgasm, cannabis is going to be the reason that we're able to do it. And y'all, you know this, if you're looking at me and I'm looking at you, women have a beautiful body and more places to put substances, and we will put them there. Vaginal suppositories, tampons, creams, soaks, you name it. If it's for our pleasure and our help, the cannabis industry is marketing to us. And so as we start to use it in our daily regimen, we are promised even weight loss strains. And so if anybody knows about cannabis, that wasn't usually what was given to us, but topicals, treatments, that the mascara is literally found in CVS down the road from me. It is from children to elderly being placed near products that we would find very common. And that's what's starting to happen. So from the bathroom, right, we move from the bathroom to the kitchen, we're able to consume cannabis from morning till night in all of our favorite ways, from coffee, Pop-Tarts, it's in edibles that are all the colors of the rainbow. And a fun fact, at least for the cannabis industry, what Britt was talking about, is that we are the main consumers of cannabis-infused beverages, and they are more expensive. But that is where we learn to have our money. It's where we as women, when we share the household income, we determine where it goes. We can't get enough. So bring in the candles, bring in the home goods, bring in the products that are infused in the decor, especially when sponsored by celebrities. Celebrity endorsements from young to old of all races and creeds are telling us that this is the way to keep us healthy, our skin well, and to keep us virile women. After that, the most critical marketing that we're having, to me, is that it's changing our hearts and minds, and it's being placed and positioned for parenting. It's going to be the preferred substance for parenting. This mellow alternative is replacing mommy wine culture and making dope moms better at managing stress, better at managing the pandemic. It was a way to take the edge off without stigma. And y'all, this clothing company didn't exist 2 years ago. That, unfortunately, Halloween costume did exist 6 years ago. But move over mommy wine culture, here comes the dope moms, and mama needs her medicine. And that is from some US pharmacopoeia, right? When we would start to use even Chinese herbs, when cannabis was being placed into our world as a medicine, it is being brought back with a vengeance. It is for our children. And I know that there are going to be some products and there's going to be some medicines that come from this plant, but how it's being positioned, that it is the end-all cure-all for so many things, is unthinkable. And even science is disproving that one by one. But it's being often used for frontline medications for our children, ourselves, and our pets. And if that's not enough, after we have our medicine, we have our fun, we have our vaginal suppositories, then we can provide for ourselves and our community. And so marketing, how it's being marketed to us, we can get a degree in it here in the United States, and we can open a business, and we can bring character and community and citizenship to our country, and then even give back to the needy and put wealth into the hands of women. That's what's happening on this side of the pond. I have to be honest, it's being marketed for exercise. And by the time that you're done reading some of the pro-cannabis literature, you think it's a great idea to run high, give it to your dog, put it in your morning shake, and spend most of the day consuming this product.
Letitia, that is extraordinary. And thank you so very, very much for the presentation. You've given us a lot to think about and to kind of get our arms around, if you will. And I'm really looking forward to our ability to be able to have that conversation as we move forward. What struck me profoundly is the fact that women are not merely being targeted with this marketing, they are the marketing themselves. And that is a profound and powerful statement and implication for us globally. And so to be able to advance this conversation further, we're going to hear about a comparison between marketing strategies between the alcohol and the cannabis industry by my good friend, Christina Spirkova. Christina Spirkova is the president of Movendi International, a global social movement for development through alcohol prevention. With more than 20 years experience in the field of drug demand prevention and reduction, she has been active in alcohol policy and as an advocate at the local, national, and global levels. She represents Movendi International in various global arenas, including WHO and other UN agencies. Christina, it is wonderful to see you and looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Thank you, Carlton. Very nice to see you and also to listen to the previous speakers. So yeah, I am here to somehow summarize or bring together what we have heard. And I will be talking not only about the alcohol market or the marketing targeting being, but about the strategies that the industries are using. And in my title, I wrote alcohol and cannabis industry, but it will also be a little bit about tobacco industry because they all are learning from each other. Before I start, I would like to show you this picture, and this shows an alcohol norm in our society. As Carlton said, I work for Movendi International. I represent Movendi International, that is a global social movement for development through alcohol prevention. So you can understand that we are really analyzing and studying alcohol issue in its whole, and that alcohol norm is a huge, huge part of it. And there, through our analysis, we understand that through alcohol industry practices, different marketing, the pop culture, how we are creating the alcohol norm we all are living in. So we are not sometimes even really aware of it. We are creating, and the alcohol culture that we have, or the norm, is carrying with itself like different myths that we have about alcohol and beliefs that are protecting also like our identity or creating our identity. And we can see something similar also with the cannabis now, like for example, like being progressive means also being somehow in the support of cannabis legalization or decriminalization. Like as soon as you would be against, you would be perceived as very conservative. And so these things are also like the substances and how we perceive them in the society are also serving our identities. And we are actually conditioned, and we believe in some effects of the substances, and that also influence our way how we perceive the reality. For example, alcohol marketing, what we understand, even influence, or not only alcohol marketing, actually marketing of different products has influence on our experience past we have consumed it. So for example, we have consumed the product, we thought it was so, but after we have seen a commercial on that product, we think that the product was amazing. So the marketing really influences even past our experience and changes it. And like through our individual perspective, then we also form the society or the collective mind under an understanding about different substances, and also how we understand them in the society. For example, how we understand the harm. In this case, for example, by alcohol. Alcohol kills every year 3 million people. Alcohol is a carcinogen of the group number 1. So it's like asbest, for example. But people, even sometimes when they know it, they think, it's maybe not really like that. So we have this huge, strong alcohol norm. And why I'm talking about it is also because, and we could also hear it, we are creating similar cannabis norm. And this is not only through marketing, but through alcohol industries and the cannabis industry and tobacco industry practices that are very similar. So behind, except of marketing, it's lobbying, it's promotion, it's sabotaging, it's manipulation, and it's deception. And they are the same both for tobacco and alcohol industry. So when it comes to lobbying, that it's like really eliminating any alcohol policy or efforts that would be threatening sales and profits of the alcohol industry of the products. Then promotion, it's really driving alcohol availability, and that's of course the marketing and the availability, like psychological, physical, economical availability of the products. And then sabotaging, that's very interesting also, it's like really avoiding and violating and undermining already existing society's laws. So for example, there is taxation on alcohol products, but the industry is really avoiding taxes, and there are different tax evasion schemes. And we can already see it already in the states that have legalized, for example, cannabis, that the shops are really trying to, or are really fighting for lowering taxes, because then there is a black market, and then the products are cheaper there, and then they cannot compete. So even though we have said that there will be some strong regulations that we will follow when we legalize, we can see that it doesn't work, and then there is an immediate protest because the profit is the leading star. And then it's manipulation, controlling, protecting, really cultivating the image of the industry. So with different corporate social responsibility activities, and like really presenting themselves as a valid societal actor that is promoting, or like it's improving the society. And deception is also like creating or like hindering public recognition of the real effects, in this case of alcohol when we study alcohol industry, but also other substances. And that's what, so I talked about tobacco, alcohol industries, and the cannabis industry is also another example. And it's like they all are very like big bodies, and you can see how they invest into each other. So you can see here several alcohol companies have invested into cannabis companies and are creating new products, and the stuff is migrating from one to another, one company to another, and they are really learning from each other. And what happens with these strategies is that they are creating this norm that I talked about, and it influences really our values, our imagination about the product, the recognition of the harm, as I said, but then also policies. So then there will be really no environments that would be protecting us. There are no services because they are really undermined by these activities. And just like really shortly, because we were talking about it already, the targeting of women by these industries. Like first, when it comes to alcohol industry, we could see it was targeting men. And if women were involved, then they were used as to sell the product. And later, when the emancipation has become enough accepted by the society, so when the critical mass accepted the women's emancipation, then also the industries jump on the wagon, and they are really like promoting emancipation, and at the same time are like really having very ambiguous activities that are still undermining the emancipation. And so with the growing disposable income and emancipation, then of course the consumption of the products has been increasing. So we have emancipated women, but they are having cancer. We have emancipated women, but they are suffering liver cirrhosis, and it's on the rise. And we have emancipated women, but they are having alcohol use disorders, or in the better case, they are in recovery. So we have emancipated women that could be working in the society, but they are in hospitals instead. And that's happening like through the normalization, and we could see it on different products. And for example, connecting to different events like Christmas, International Women's Days, that has been really captured by the alcohol industry and also arm industry last year. And for example, the last one, like that's another example, like however the industry goes into all the areas of our lives to connect and normalize their existence, is this Christmas story by Kate Hudson and Baron Davis, where you can see like the THC infused vodka is really a main actor in the story. And like now we are bringing cannabis into Christmas even. And I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so very, very much, Christina. Extraordinary presentation. And as we've heard from Britt and from Letitia, we're seeing, and what we're seeing is not new. We've seen this movie before, so to speak, and we're learning, but they're learning even more about how to be even more effective in broadening and strengthening the consumer base among women. And so excellent presentation, Christine. Thank you so much. Now we're going to have the opportunity of hearing from regional areas. And so it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce Ms. Sunima Tuladar. Sunima Tuladar has extensive experience in child protection issues, child sexual abuse, online child protection, street children, human trafficking, child participation, and children in armed conflict. As an expert on child rights in Nepal, she has engaged in policy advocacy on child rights and conducts awareness programs to social workers, health officials, teachers, and law enforcing agencies on a regular basis. She currently serves as an executive director of CWIN Nepal. Sunima has a master's degree in humanities and has received a number of trainings on various subjects related to child rights. She is an extraordinary woman. I am looking forward to hearing her presentation on what's going on in Nepal. Please, Sunima, you have the stage. Sunima, I think you're on mute. No, we cannot. No, we cannot. Cressida, any recommendations?
Sunima, you can try to go into the bottom of your screen where the microphone is and press the arrow, and then select the microphone and change it between, because sometimes it's a problem when you log on that it chooses for you and it's the wrong one. So hopefully that works.
We are very much looking forward. No, we cannot hear you just yet. We're very much looking forward to it. Cressida, were you sharing something?
Oh, sorry, Carlton, it's Regina. No, it seemed like Sumima's microphone was working, but perhaps Sunima, if you log off and come back on and change the settings, perhaps George can start, Carlton.
Sunima, if you can log off and log back in, we'll pick you up. What we'll do is we'll start with George and we'll come right back to you. Thank you so very, very much. Looking forward to hearing what's going on in Nepal. And so with that, if you wouldn't mind, Cressida, putting up George's picture. It is my great pleasure to introduce my friend George Ochieng-Odala. He is the executive director and founder of Slum Child Foundation based in Nairobi, Kenya, and has extensive experience in social work and working with and on protection of slum children and youth. Growing up himself as a slum street child in Nairobi, George Ochieng-Odala is dedicated to helping children in similar situations and sees their potential. He represents the voice of vulnerable children in the global policy debate. It is one of the best and most accurate descriptions I know of my friend. George, the floor is yours, my friend. Please take it away.
Hello, do you hear me now?
We can hear you, Nima. Thank you so much. George.
Yes, thank you, Carlton, for the nice, wonderful introduction. It just reminded me some years back when we were with Sumima at the UN in New York, giving our statements. At the same time, we were seated next to each other, and we were kind of trying to consult each other. How do we go about this? How do we go about that? So I wish I was next to Sumima. I would have advised her what to do. Anyway, that is a discussion for another day. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to share what I have about the subject of discussion. I work with Slum Child Foundation, which is a grassroots organization working with children, young people, and women in the informal segment of Korogocho. We have a number of interventions that we are doing just to ensure that we are able to protect the children from harmful substance abuse. With regards to the subject of discussion, I think in Kenya, we've had a lot of challenges, a good example was when the UN voted, the vote that the UN had and the way it was, in Kenya, it was a celebration to an extent that the government through NACADA had to do a presser to ensure that they clarify marijuana has not been legalized, because that was the window that the people in the market, the cartels and the suppliers were taking advantage to ensure that they share the wrong information to the public so that people are able to buy into their gospel instead of getting what is right. I know there are a lot of efforts that the people who have been supporting legalization have put in place. On a number of occasions, they've sponsored a bill in Parliament that was being spearheaded by the late Honorable Ken Okoth, may his soul rest in peace. He was the one who was championing this. And I was shocked to some extent, asking myself, he was born and brought up in the slums of Kibera. Why would he champion for this? But I understand that there were some forces that were behind all this. Apart from that, we've had cases of media adverts, TV, billboards. I remember when the bill came out, media houses denied us an opportunity to be interviewed so that they also get to know our side of the story. The team that was pro-legalization were all over in all the media stations, all the mainstream medias. They were advocating for this, the benefits of marijuana, why it should be legalized. There was a time we approached the Senate Health Committee to give our views, but unfortunately their side was listened to, our side was not listened to, and this really provoked us to do a letter to the Speaker of the National Assembly explaining the 10 reasons as to why we would not want this to be, marijuana not to be legalized in our country. I'm happy that it landed in the safe table, because so far the debate went under the water. We've had cases of media personnel, sons and daughters of the prominent people in the society trying to advocate for the same. So it has, they're using all the tactics to ensure that they buy their space within the system so that they're able to champion for what they want, because it's all about the profit that they get from this. The target people in the whole scenario are children, youth, and women. These are easy spots because where they are and where the zones that they target, there are people that at times the police, to some extent, have soft spot Because again, if you look at the zones where they try to sell what they're selling, you realize that they're being sold around institutes. There was a time I went to one of the universities, I don't want to mention which, but I came to realize that there were candies that were cookies actually, that were made of bang, and the schools were aware, but it was something that was being done under the water. If you look at the slum areas, there are zones. I was talking to some of my colleagues that are joining the Kenyan hub that we created for the CND. And they were like, we need to make a visit to one of the slums here. And I told them we can do that, but there are zones that we cannot go to. So if the management, like a big authority, are afraid to go to those places, the government is also afraid to go to those places, it becomes very difficult. And these are the easier spots or zones that the cartels are using to make up their business look good and get the profits that they're getting. We've also had cases whereby we were being told of refugee camps, whereby the drugs are being smuggled into refugee camps. And the people who smuggle these are young women, the women that you cannot think of. Like last month.
George,
yeah.
You have 1 minute, George.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm finalizing. I think my minute will be through with what I have here. So last month when we had the cases of the teen mom that we were meeting with, and they were telling me that we are forced to do this so that we are able to get something out of it all. But the impact of this has been school dropout, increased crime, cases of slum gangs, poverty, health-related challenges, cases of young people being zombies. And a good example that I'm going to conclude with is the case of the zombies that I met in Colorado when I visited Colorado, people who lost hope completely. And yeah, so that is the impact of how we felt the commercialization of marijuana or cannabis in Kenya. And we pray that we will put our efforts together and ensure that we do our level best to help our young people. Thank you very much.
George, thank you very, very much. Thank you for being a champion there in Kenya, being one of the leaders to have really made sure that the invisible harms are indeed made visible for those to make some good choices about. We're looking forward to further conversation. And with that, I'm welcoming back our good friend Sunima, who will be able to share with us what's going on in Nepal. Please.
Thank you so much. And I'm really sorry for the interruption. I am actually very worried after hearing to all the experts in this panel, because in Nepal, we are gearing for a marijuana bill. It is being called that it is a medical bill, but it has all the components of growing, import, production, and so many companies are already queuing up to apply for the permission to grow and produce marijuana. They are saying it medical marijuana, but there is a lot of, issues where we are very, very concerned as civil society, because the people, those who are actually campaigning for legalization are those who are opinion makers in Nepal. There are political parties, ex-ministers, and also the media personnel. And they have no idea the kind of aggressive marketing that has already made, the issue of marijuana as like being promoted to women and young people, having so much negative impacts, not only in the health, but also to the women and children that we work in Nepal, for example, coming from urban poor areas and who are already into the addiction, and who already do not have access to treatment, access to reformation. It's going to be really hard. And the people who are supporting legalization are also saying that marijuana tourism will bring, wealth to Nepal, and that we used to be, a hippie hotspot in 1960s, and we are going to get a lot more money, and our economy is gonna, becoming, we are becoming a wealthy Nepal. But it is so naive when they are not seeing the consequences which are already there, evidences are already there. And when I see the kind of target being, like pushed towards women and young people, it's going to be really hard for all of us. And as a voice from civil society, it is a very, very, like contested, hard for us, because in Nepal, we have been lobbying and advocating for national alcohol policy for the last 13 years, and there is no discussion about the policy in the parliament. But they talked about legalizing marijuana, they talked about, okay, medical marijuana, and the bill is already being heard. So this is the situation in our part of the world, and we need solidarity, support, and education, and learning from all of you. And we just need to be stronger as a civil society. Thank you so much.
Sunima, thank you so very, very much. That was well worth the wait to be able to hear what's going on in your country and the issues and the challenges and some of the concerns that you have. We have a little bit of time, but I want to just, if we can bring everybody back on screen, please. We talked a great deal about the magnitude of the challenge and the issue, this whole notion of making this invisible harm very visible for us to make some sense of. I'm going to ask of all of you who are experts in this, who've been working passionately on this, how can we overcome this? What can we do? How can we begin to address this? You all have been working in this field so much. I want to leave us with a little bit of hope. What gives you hope in the work that we are currently doing now? And I'm going to open that up. And if you don't mind, I see Britt already has her hand raised. I knew you would come with the hope. Come with the hope, Britt. Thank you so much.
There is a lot of hope, and there is a lot of really healthy and good things that could be done. By reaching the staff and people who work with young girls around the world, we can raise the girls' awareness about this industry. Because when they know, they are not as accepting. They are not. They start to question. And interactive method materials as a tool, working with girl group activities, is phenomenal. It's so fun, it's very healthy, it's very positive, and it's done with dignity. So educating grown-ups, educating the young ones, having awareness is the best strategy.
Agreed.
Stand against this.
Agreed. Letitia, what gives you hope and what are your thoughts? And I see your hand, Christina, sorry.
When you wake women, we move mountains. That's all I have to say. And when we get that education in there, when women affect communities, it is infectious and powerful and sits a lot of people down. So my hope is education.
Extraordinary. Christina, please.
Yeah, I think I was talking about the norm in the beginning, and the norm, of course, is changed by building awareness and education, as all the others are saying. This is important, but I think that we need to change environments, and what is it that we allow and what is it that we do not allow in the society, and like through policies we can really shape them. So the promotion and marketing that we were talking about, I told you about the example that product that we consume, when we see a commercial about it, that we change our experience of how it tasted. We can be educated, and we really need to know these things, but there are so many influences around us that we at one point also have difficulties to really block everything. So I think that there need to be policies that promote health of women, health of people, so public health policies, and also things that promote right now sustainability. And we really can see that the consumption of substances is really not sustainable for our societies. So I absolutely agree that we need to reach women wake them up to make them outraged, but we also and then get their help also to really change the policies around or prevent happenings, because of course in many countries do not allow the marketing, for example, yet. So to prevent it.
Absolutely. Sumina, forgive me, please.
Sumima.
Sumima. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. Do you have something to add, please?
I also join Christina and say that prevention, because we work with young people, and this is the most viable option, available for us. And prevention aided by solidarity, I would say, from all the good people working towards creating a sustainable and a fair society for children, which is our hope.
Thank you so very, very much. George, I don't know if you're still there, and if you have something to add. I didn't want to leave you out before we bring this to a close.
Yes, Carlton. I agree with Christina and my colleagues on the statement that they've given, and I will look at it differently. We need to protect children, no matter what. We need to protect children. The practices that are there that can be used as an example need to be put in place. I love what Smart International is doing. We've done a lot with them. They're doing the same in the whole world just to protect children. So bottom line, we need to protect children. Thank you.
And thank you. And thank you all. I want to thank the organizers of this side event. Thank you all. Thank you very much for considering this as being needed and necessary at C&D this year to bring this conversation to the fore. Thank you so much for the invitation of being able to be a moderator for this event. And all, if you wouldn't mind, help me thank this extraordinary panel of experts who have provided their expertise and thoughtful presentations for us all. Thank you so much for helping us to advance this conversation. Looking forward to working with you and being back together again in person. Technical issues aside, we are looking forward to coming back together again. Thank you all so very, very much. Cressida, I'm going to turn it back over to you.